Have a seat. It is human nature to seek self-worth, to find the confidence which can only come from the justification of our existence. The truth is that this justification can only come from within, when we are able to look at ourselves and understand that no external source will ever be able to apply a value to us which is anything but transient and irrelevant, and that we are the only ones who dictate our worth. However, that is only a realization which is reached after years of soul-searching. In the meantime, we will attempt to justify ourselves in the eyes of others by a number of different means, and one of the more unfortunate means is through our sexuality. Our culture is morbidly obsessed with sex. Walk past a magazine stand covered with tips on how to please your lover, or watch 30 minutes of television and you'll see it plain as day. I don't need to point this out. What I do need to point out is that the basis for this morbid obsession is once again heavily grounded in the fact that sex sells products which otherwise no one would buy. So-called health products are sold primarily on this basis as well. You'll have a hard time convincing me that people truly intend to buy products which will allow them to live longer, healthier lives, when at the same time they refuse to quit smoking, drinking heavily, or even wear a seatbelt regularly. No, when the purpose is to be thinner and fitter, the goal is sex. Far too many people have little to nothing positive to say about themselves, except for the sex they've had during their lifetimes, using this as the only accomplishment they can name. For them, every time they're sexually accepted, their need for self-esteem is met, at least temporarily. It seems to come easier after their first time, too, for some reason considering themselves corrupted or some other such Puritan bullshit, and that each subsequent sex act will never hold the same severity as the first. Sex is the act of reproduction, and as such it is an instinct ingrained in the human mind on a genetic level, but one of the key elements of being a critical thinker is knowing when your instincts, being many millennia old, are not working to your best interest, and that it's time to override them in the interest of self-preservation. If unwanted pregnancies and STDs aren't enough to convince you, the emotional repercussions should be. Sex can be an act which is valued only slightly above a handshake, or it can be a sacred bond between two individuals, but believe me when I say that underestimating the emotional repercussions can be disastrous. I've parted ways with at least one former friend who did not understand these repercussions, and as such could no longer be trusted. Sex is unnecessary to living a whole and complete human existence. I don't know what sex means to you personally, and I feel it's wrong to offer you an opinion on the subject. But since it's something which the media relies so heavily upon as a means of controlling both the thoughts and emotions of the populace, and as a marketing tool, it is imperative that you evaluate your perspective on it, knowing that your opinion has likely been influenced by those who do not have your best interests in mind. Sex is not a reliable means of self-justification, nor is it an accomplishment which is anything more than transient. It is an act which is badly misunderstood by many and mistreated by far more. The only thing I want you to remember is that not giving it the respect it deserves as both an emotional act and the process of reproduction is the very epitome of foolishness. We're done here.